What's up, guys? Welcome back to the JP and Trav Show on the JP and Trav YouTube channel. As always, it's your host with the most, JP. And obviously, as you can see to my right, I don't have my co-host tonight. He is at an event doing his thing, and so he'll be joining us again at another time, hopefully next week and everything like that. But just keep your prayers his way. Nothing crazy, just something he had to attend. But it's always a good reason to get my guy on. To the right of me, this is my uncle, Mr. Byron Lusby. He's been on the show before, friend of the show. Was an NFL scout for over 20 years. Has a lot of knowledge and is an Oklahoma alumni. So if you've been on the show, you know what he's about and everything like that. But if you haven't, I'll let him introduce himself. Byron, how you doing?
I'm doing good. About yourself, Mr. Jalen?
Man, I'm hanging in. It's been a
tough days to get sooner these days. Tough. But we'll get through it.
Yeah. As we will. You and I have talked, I don't know how many times, obviously off air, just about this year and kind of everything that's gone into it. And it's just been a lot. So obviously, people have heard Travis and I's opinions over the year and over every week. So if you just want to give a synopsis of your opinion of the season, we can do that, and then we'll get into a little bit of this Missouri review.
Yeah, I mean, it's everybody knows what it is. The offense has been what it is what it is. It started early. You kind of dismissed it the first game. We were 0 for 12-13 on third down against Temple. Yeah, they wrote it off as, we were trying to run stuff, blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, that it started there. You should never be 0 for 13, 0 for whatever against Temple on third down ever in life. They come back, you get a couple late, but that's bugaboo. That's worry number one. Then you go to the Houston game. Houston hadn't showed any signs of life. They barely scored the first game they played. And, we luckily get out of that one. So, the symptoms were there early. We, kind of tried to write it off, but, those little things catch up to you. They become big things. And now they're, it's systemic. It's a lot of issues in a lot of different areas. So it's a lot to clean up. The next offensive coordinator is going to have his hands full. He definitely needs to have a plan, how he's going to address, all areas of the program, from the screws up. It's got to have an identity. What's your identity going to be? What kind of players do we need in here? So, that's the main thing with the offense. The defense has been up and down, mostly up. But, they don't get a lot of help from the offense. But still, there are times you just got to man up and make a play. 2 minutes left to go. You get a gift touchdown, get off the field. I get you're tired and, it's been a long game. But, 2 minutes to go. Let's get off the field and get out of there with a dub. Go to a bowl game. There's times that there's plays to be made on defense and they don't, for whatever reason, they don't make them. All of that, everybody has a little hand in it. So, it's frustrating for everybody. I'm sure it's frustrating for the players too. They work hard. I haven't seen those guys quit. I see enthusiasm. They're excited. They come to the game ready to play. So I'm sure it's frustrating for them too. So, but all that matters in the end are results, and they just haven't been there this year.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, you nailed it on the head. They haven't, and I know you've probably heard a few shows, but Travis and I, we always try to be rational. We don't try to be demonstrative or
right.
We don't say a lot of superlatives on this show. Like, we just try to go with it the way we feel, and we try to take everything holistically and look at it and say, okay, like, yes, this is what we saw, but does that mean this is what it is type thing? And so that's kind of where we've been. Some people might call that sunshine pumping. I just call it, again, not just trying to nuke the whole program, because that's what some people want to do. Fire everybody every second.
Yeah, pony up all the money. You got to pay $44 million for BV and then the staff. So yeah, if you got it, hey, put it on the table. not, hey, let's try to get it fixed to support these dudes.
Yeah.
Come up with a logical or reasonable way to fix it, not just burn it down. That's not. I don't think it's at the burn down stage either.
Right.
There
Right.
are some positives. So
Yeah. And that's where I'm at. It's like, and that I think the thing that maybe is slightly concerning for me, is just it seems that there's this trend of finding ways to lose games, and that is, you know, even last year having won 10 games, we somehow found a way to lose to Kansas. We somehow found a way to lose to Oklahoma State. So instead of an undefeated season or even a one loss, even if you want to say like, okay, one of those is a fluke, like you sit at 10-2, and then bowl game is what it is. Like we didn't have, we weren't at full strength, so I don't really whatever. But
and that'll be the trend going forward with bowl games. So
yeah, right. And
the
so
best thing about those are the extra practices and all that stuff.
Yeah. And so then we have 2022, which that whole season was full of games that you're just like, how do we lose? Me and my friend that lives up here in Indy, we went to one. We went to West Virginia. It was cold and sleeting, and we somehow lost that game. Mm-hmm. It was miserable. And so, like you look at Brent Venables' tenure, and you see obviously clearly the defense is much better. That's obvious. Right. You can see that. Yeah. And even honestly, his first 2 years, the offense was really good. Like it wasn't like number one, number two elite, but it was a top 10 offense both years. Mm-hmm. And Dylan Gabriel, again, I know people don't love him, but he's a good quarterback. He's a good college quarterback. Like that's why he's doing what he's doing at Oregon. Like so, at the end of the day, he's a high level college quarterback, and we had top 10 offenses. Mm-hmm. It sucks that it's like, man, our defense wasn't the way it is this year, any of the first 2 years, and then our offense is now somehow historically one of the worst that we've ever had.
That's a sentence that I thought I would never say in life, that our offense would be in the toilet and our defense, not elite, but very good.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And it just is, it's interesting. It's confusing. And here's what I will say too. I think obviously when you lose dang near an entire two deep at a certain, a specific position, especially a skill position, that's tough for anybody to overcome, right. Let alone not realizing, like your offensive line is going to be banged up most of the spring and summer, too, and that your quarterback is not going to be who you thought he was going to be. So when you put all those things together, you get what's happening.
Yeah. And, it's a lot of, like you said, it's a lot of stuff to fix. I saw a bunch of people, you should go max protect. And okay, well, your tight ends don't block well. So what's the point of going max protect? Let's run quick game. Okay, quarterback's got to get it out of his hand when he sees it. I've seen him cut people and he hitches on a 3-step drop. That ball's got to be out. It's designed to be out. It's all of it. Now, like you say, one thing, it just adds up. And like you get to where you are. So, your recruiting philosophy, absolutely, you need to look at it because you can't be this wrong on the quarterback.
Yeah.
There had to be a tell somewhere that, something was off because it's bad. The quarterback plays bad.
Yeah.
So
I'll let,
go ahead.
My buddy Richard has a question. We'll hit this question and then we'll get right into some of this Missouri review, and then we'll get into. Obviously, we don't have a game to prepare for this coming week, so we'll kind of talk about Brent Venables and everything. Continue that conversation. Let the chat kind of chime in a little more, and then obviously talk about maybe Joe C and Joe Harris's confidence that they said that they still had in BV as of yesterday at the Board of Regents meeting. So this is his question. Do you feel Jackson got far too much, latitude, and that the coaching staff gave Michael Hawkins the hook too quickly? You can't coach elite speed and arm talent. He seems to be wired differently.
It's not about arm talent. It's not about elite speed. It's about processing. If you don't process and see things quickly, that is death to a quarterback. You can have all the arm talent, you can throw it through a brick wall, you can run a 4-2, all of that. But if you can't process the picture and see it and then know where to go, your decision making, if that's not on point, it's death to a quarterback. That's the biggest thing I see. Like, go back to the Tennessee game when we talked. When you can't get the read option, not the read pass option, just the read.
Yeah.
Hand it off. When you can't get that right, there's a problem. I don't know how much you simplify it. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know the answer, but that's a problem. That's the genesis of your offense is to get to the pass option is just the read option stuff. And you can't get that right. Those decisions were bad against Tennessee. So then you go to the young kid who hasn't been prepared to play. The playbook was this small against Auburn. It worked. We got to win. You get 2 weeks to prepare for Texas, and the kid looks like he doesn't want to throw the ball. He's afraid to throw the ball for whatever the reason. There were throws to be made. He just didn't pull the trigger. I don't know if it was too fast. He's a freshman. Ideally, you want him to sit for a year. I'm not one of them people that think you just put a kid in and play. No, you can learn from sitting and watching, as your pro team is going to find out. You can sit and watch and learn, and it was happening too fast for that kid. So you can't let him play after you turn the ball over like he did against South Carolina. You just can't, because there are 100 other kids on that roster that you owe a chance to win. I hate it for that kid. From everything I know, I live in Frisco. I've seen that kid play in high school. He's a good kid. He's smart. He works at it. And you don't want to ruin that kid either. So, there's a fine line, You can't leave him in there and just let him keep failing. You got to let him, you got to take him out and at that point. So I don't think they gave him the hook too quickly. He was decent. He played well enough to win against Auburn, Texas. It was iffy, and a lot of our no receivers, shaky O-line, limited playbook, all of that. It's all of that. So I don't think they pulled him too quick. You just don't want to ruin the kid.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's a good synopsis. I said that when both quarterbacks got pulled this year, because Jackson had to be pulled when you pulled him.
Absolutely.
And Michael Hawkins had to be pulled when you pull him. Like, I get that the offensive line, you could say, are part of both of those games, but like at the end of the day, you can't turn the ball over like that. Mm-hmm. And it happened. And look, I know we can sit here and say, well, Jackson turned the ball over 3 times against Missouri, and that is true. We still had an opportunity to win the game in the end. And then he fumbled it away at the end of the game. And so it's like, okay, you're going to bench him at the end you can't bench him at the end of the game. And so right. At this point, like you said, I think it's not about, okay, let's go out here and get Michael Hawkins killed and destroy his confidence these last 2 games against Alabama and LSU. It's, hey, let's just see if Jackson A can somehow rebound. If he can't and he's not that guy, then okay, he's not that guy. We know that. And then we'll go into the spring, whether it's looking for a portal or saying, okay, we've seen some tremendous growth early in the winter with Michael Hawkins Jr., and we believe maybe in his future if Jackson's not going to be net back or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think that's what you do, but I don't think you change with 2 games left.
No.
In my opinion.
No.
So
especially playing against Alabama, that's going to be South Carolina all over.
Yeah.
So you got a kid that hadn't played in a month against a defense that's going to throw multiple looks, and they could get pressure from. They're going to throw all kind of blitzes. So that's why I had to mute Ty too. I'm not listening to Ty for another couple of weeks. So
yeah, that's my guy. We're gonna have him on next week. So it'll be.
He's a good dude. I like Ty.
Yeah.
But it's. That's the main thing is identifying what you want in a quarterback, how to develop it, and then build your program around that.
Yeah.
What kind of offensive lineman do you want? Our offensive line, we got a penalty against Maine. Yes, it was Maine, but the kid finished the block. When was the last time we saw that?
Yeah.
from any of these offensive linemen. Even last year, like they weren't driving people to the ground like Zeus and all those guys did. That O line was nasty. They wanted to hurt you. Where is
Yeah.
that? You know.
Yeah.
And then another thing is leadership. Who is the leader on offense? When it's going, when it's going bad, who's hey, come on, guys, let's get. Where
You
is
don't
that?
got
You got guys on defense, but on offense, where's the leadership?
Yeah.
That's problematic too.
Yeah. Yep, you're right. Well, let's get into the. I mean, there are some good things, obviously, but we'll get into the ugliness of in our Week 10 review. Mizzou versus OU again is powered by our friend at OU versus the World, formerly known as Sooner Gridiron. Make sure you guys continue to go follow his stuff on Twitter. It keeps you guys updated with videos, just in case you can't watch the game or are on the move or something like that. He can keep you updated through videos on his account. He posts them pretty quickly and clips them up pretty quickly. So he gets us all of our clips for our reviews. So shouts out to him. Without further ado, we will go ahead and begin with we'll begin with a positive. We'll talk about Billy Bowman's hit here. Obviously, Sooners, leader on one of the leaders on defense you were just talking about, and obviously big hit here, Luther Burden. And this is this is another conversation we can continue to have of how we were talking off air, about how we out here doing tight end sweeps to Bauer Sharp.
Right.
But somehow, we have the offense on the other side getting the ball into their best wide receiver's hands, but we can't. We've been waiting for Deion Burks to be back, but we can't do nothing like that for him.
Correct. And this is a hell of a play by two. Bowman doesn't make that play, he gets it, because I don't know that 28 can get there.
Yeah.
Because this kid can run. So, I mean, this is the beginning of the game, and you look at the sideline. That's the kids are still invested. That's how you know they're working hard and they're not quitting. The things that you have to. Those are the things you look for in the program as far as evaluating BV, because that's the big part of his job, is making sure that the whole team is still invested. So I always use the analogy. This person who says, "Who is this?" I was a scout for the Indianapolis Colts for 23 years. So the year that Peyton hurt his neck and he didn't play, we were 0-14. And Coach Caldwell, I think that was his best coaching year, even better than the year we went to the Super Bowl, is because that team never gave up. They never quit. We ended up winning our last two games, but we lost a whole bunch of one-score games just because those kids were, not kids, but those men were bought into what Coach Caldwell was preaching and teaching. So that's a big part of how you evaluate BV too. These kids aren't sulking, they aren't pouting, they're still excited and they're engaged. So that's, a positive for that's a big positive for BV. And Richard, I love Coach Caldwell too, and agree. He got a horrible deal in Detroit.
Yeah, my boy Richard's a big Lions fan, and then that's Kirby. So for those of you who are getting in late, maybe we didn't hear at the beginning, or again haven't seen Byron before. Byron's my uncle. He's known me since I was born. My dad, one of my dad's best friends and everything. So not necessarily blood, but basically blood, right? Uncle. And so, like he said, he was a scout in the NFL for the Colts for over 20 years, and so was OU alum. And so, obviously have him on here because I know he knows what he's talking about and everything like that. Kirby is our Byron. Just so you know, he's our resident comedian on the show. He gets us to laugh at least. He gets us to laugh at least once a week.
I got you.
But yeah, he's on the fire Brent Venables train. We could talk about that more later.
Kirby, you got $44 million. You got about $50 million to pay off him and his and the staff too.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Tell you that.
Yeah. And like I said, it's not all negative. There are some good things this year. Like you got two young backs that are going to be really good.
Yeah.
From the offensive side, you got a couple of linemen that are going to be all right. All right. Hey,
All
with
right,
this
fake
incoming
punt.
president, you're not. Hey, that's a smart move, buddy.
We got this fake punt that happened early in the game, and this is where like I was like, okay, like I see you see the gamesmanship going on. Obviously, Brent's happy about this. Now, again, a lot of people were upset at Brent because they felt like. Now I'm curious to get your take on this. They felt that as if like the reason that we got this penalty that's about to come up here is because they were too busy celebrating to get a play in.
No, they didn't reset the clock.
Which is what I said, and somebody else said they did reset it. And if you watch here now, look, if you can see it right here, it goes 40 right here, okay,
Mm-hmm.
40
And
right
that's not
here,
where you reset it. The ball's
and then it runs right here, right?
Yep.
And now you correct me if I'm wrong, Byron. Isn't it not reset until the official places the ball?
Yes.
Okay, yep. Which is what I thought. So it's already running. And the official has not placed the ball yet.
And also, BV's not involved. That's not his call. He's not calling that play. So him celebrating really doesn't have anything to do with it. He's listening on the headsets to hear what's called, but the OC, that's on him. And he should be communicating with the quarterback through the microphone anyway. So
yeah,
BV is not really involved in that.
Yeah.
But yes, that was the officiating that wasn't. What I'd like to see is 10 actually, instead of hurling this guy, run him over.
Yeah.
Or try to make him miss because he's standing flat-footed. It's a receiver.
Yeah.
Make him miss.
Yeah. I mean, nice athletic play, but it doesn't. I mean, it's not getting you trying to get into the end zone, and we don't even end up scoring. We have a catastrophic next 3 plays and have to kick a field goal. So
it's typical OU offense in 2024.
That's right, typical 2024 Oklahoma offense. But nevertheless, this is early in the game. We were excited. We were like, oh yay,
absolutely,
here we go.
Great shades of Bob Stoops.
Yes, indeed. All right, next one is going to be the Billy Bowman scoop and score. That we actually, sorry, before that, we have one more I'm going to add that I finally just was able to upload. Here we go.
Remember to shake that.
Okay, so we got the reverse pass here, and at first, Byron, I'm not going to lie to you. When I first saw this going down, I was screaming. I was like, why? I was like, it's 3rd and 4. Like, why don't we run 2 run plays? You can do power read like you've been doing, read option, something. If you get 2 yards, then he's 4th and 2. Like, let's fight another down. Like, now we go, like, if we don't get this, we throw it away, another turnover, another fumble, or we, get knocked out of, range to even go for it on 4th down. That's what's going through my mind.
I'm just glad that 71 peeled back because I saw 15 and I was like, oh no. And actually, good job by the quarterback of cutting back inside instead of running out of bounds, which he did earlier in the game. There was a play earlier going the other way. If he cuts back the run, like he hits his head on the goalpost and said he ran out of bounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a great play call.
Yeah.
Good job.
And it worked out.
And you look at this, they're celebrating. Everybody's excited. Receivers are running from different, they're on the other side of the field. They're going across to celebrate. Those are the things you look for when you're evaluating Brent. It's not just, the wins and losses, but this year is what it is. The receivers being hurt, O-line being hurt.
Yeah.
And, bad quarterback play. That's, it is what it is, but the team is still invested. So there's a lot to be said for a guy keeping everything together when it's this bad.
Yeah. Right. Which again, I've said this, Byron, I know we got a lot of Twitter couch coaches out there. People ain't coached. It is difficult to keep kids engaged. I won a state championship as a basketball coach last year. It was one of the hardest years of my life just in coaching because like nobody sees behind the scenes like stuff you have to go through to keep kids engaged. Like when you're playing at a high level like that, like kids like to get lackadaisical. They like to get lazy, and they like to overlook people. Like it's difficult, and it's more than just what you do, like what's seen. It's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and like you said, people need to pay attention to that. I know everybody wants to be black and white and this and that, but it's not that simple all the time. Which is again, that's what Travis and I try to talk about a lot. But a lot of people don't want to hear that. They're like, he don't get paid for me to give him excuses. That's all I hear is excuses. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but it's not an excuse. It's a fact. Like, your top 5 receivers were hurt. That's not an excuse, but
it's just a fact.
Yeah, it is what it is. You're naive to think that the injuries, it stinks that, we got a bunch of them this year. It happens. It happens in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. It's not an excuse, but, injuries happen, and those people were 1 through 5 for a reason.
Yeah.
The reason they were the first 5 receivers on the depth chart. So you're now you have to rely on guys that you're trying to develop, that may be physically not ready, and now they've got to play. It's a lot of different stuff. So injuries are, people like to say no excuse. I'm not saying it's an excuse because you shouldn't be this bad, but it is a reason.
It's a reason and a cog of things going on. So, but yeah, so let's move on to now. We're starting to get towards the end of the game here. Billy Bowman, Kirby. I'm sorry, bro. Hopefully your mom's okay. Let us know what's going on, how we can pray for her.
Please. Yep.
But yeah, so here we go. Let's see who makes causes the fumble.
It's like 24.
Was it Downs? Was it Ethan?
I thought it was 24.
Maybe it was Amasigo, yeah. But yeah, Billy
Johnny on the spot.
In the right place at the right time. And yeah, it was 24. You're right. Sammy Amasigo coming up with a big play.
Yeah.
All bounces our way, and I'm like, oh, like it is Sooner magic. Like here we go. That's what you think.
Yeah.
And this is, this is giving shades of, in an inverted way, the Rose Bowl of 2017. This is because I'm telling you, when Steven Parker picked that fumble up, I thought we were going to the national championship game. That's what I thought.
And Bam, we to beat the brakes off Bam.
Yeah, we going we going to the national championship game. That's what I was thinking. And here I thought, hey, we're winning this game somehow.
Yeah, we're not going to worry about these next 2 games. We're going to get 2 minutes. We're going to be bowl eligible. Everybody will feel better about themselves. And here we go.
Yes. 2 minutes to get a stop on Drew Pine, who I know they've been a little hot, but he's not going to do nothing. Like the defense will be able to step up. They just scored a touchdown. They've been playing pretty well most of the night for the most part. It'll be fine. That's what I thought. That's what I thought about it.
Yeah. Yep.
And unfortunately, we know that that's not what ended up being the case. As let's see, right here was kind of what began this. This is third and oh my gosh, the fact that this is third down makes this so much worse. Byron.
You got to be situationally aware in this situation too.
Have to.
The defense is called. Okay, 5.
Let me know what you want. I'm gonna run it. Let me know what you want.
Yep. Nope. What's gonna beat you deep? 5. Run.
Yeah.
Why? There's no reason for you to sit. The linebacker is on that throw. Is on the underneath throw. Carry the deep threat. Yeah,
and if he catches it, it's not.
You live to fight. Yeah.
2 yards from the sticks.
Yes. Yes, Jacob, you can't fall down. I get you're a young guy, and this is your first in a big game in a big spot. But 5, you can't. Woody, you can't. You've got to carry that guy. That's what's going to beat you. Not the underneath throw. You're going to tackle it 1. The clock is going to run 2. They're going to have to burn timeouts, and it's 4th down with a quarterback who's iffy. You pressure him, you're liable to get off the field, and game's over. But you can't give this up. And granted, 19, Jacob, you can't fall, big guy.
Yeah, and it's a bad throw. Like it's a terrible throw.
If he stays on his feet, it's a pick.
Yeah, if Jacobs on his feet, it's a pick or a PBU, like
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
So like, and I don't know, like I 100% agree with you. Woody should have carried him, like regardless. But like maybe Woody's like, oh, I got help over the top. I don't know. But even then, like yeah,
I mean, the whole defense, everybody's in great shape. Everybody is in good shape, except for the safety falls at 5 carrying. The linebacker is underneath the short throw. That throw is it's a 7-8 yard completion, and then it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 6. I mean 4th and 8, 4th and 6. You can't give up the big play. That was the best thing about Coach Dungy and Coach Caldwell is like, one, we did 8 million individual drills. We did more individual, so everybody was technique sound, and we did a ton of situational stuff. And they would talk through it, being in training camp, going through the meetings, how they talk through these districts. I mean, all kind of situations. They talked through them, and everybody was on the same page. So it sucks, but that's kind of how our year's been going. Kid slips and falls, and the veteran guy that you're supposed to lean on, kind of gets lost looking, gets bad eyes and he's not situationally aware, because that short throw doesn't bother you.
Yeah. Yep. And so this is what we talked about earlier, Byron. I promise you, I think it's SEC. I think it's SEC Network. I don't know what they're on, because like we can do it on ESPN, ABC, CBS, but for whatever, like the last SEC Network thing we reviewed, they did the same thing. Nobody else has said anything. Even after we got like taken off of YouTube, it wasn't a copyright strike. YouTube never said, oh, you weren't allowed to do this, because I have other watermarks here. Like it's not as if I'm just, it's free use, right? So I don't know. It's okay. We're on Twitter anyway, so we just gonna keep going, and hopefully YouTube comes back. But okay. So let's talk about this Theo Weiss TD. As you said earlier, Eli's in a great position. He's just 5'9".
Yeah, that's all it is. You got to tip your hat to them. The bigger receiver made a play.
And of course it has to be Theo Weiss.
Yeah,
it's a heck of a catch.
Yeah,
body control.
I heard him talking. It's personal. Did we run him out of OU, or did he leave?
I mean, some would say Levy ran him out. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But
hell of a play. Kid made a play.
He's 2 inches tall.
He's 2 inches taller than, he tips the ball away.
Yep.
Literally 2 inches. But the kid, he's had a good year.
He gives it a good jump too. I mean,
yeah, he's short. I mean, that's all it is. If he's 2 inches taller, he makes the play. But you just got to tip your hat to them on that one.
Yep.
But the kid, I mean, he's been consistent. He's in the right spot. He makes tackles. He doesn't give up a lot of big plays. So, he does a good job in what they ask him to do.
Yeah.
He's just, he's not tall.
Yeah. I didn't want to even go through the fumbles because
I mean, they're non-contact.
Yeah, I can't look at it again.
Yeah.
Last thing is let's go through some of these Xavier Robinson runs. We talked about it. Don't know why, unless they just like, okay, because at this point I believe that he can still be redshirted, because I don't think he's played up until this point. So maybe that was a piece of his. Okay, we've been seeing him doing these things. Let's unleash him now, because we can still save his red shirt, and he can give us maybe some juice here at the end of the year. And he gave us some juice, because I was watching him like, okay, against Maine, I was like, okay, he looked good. And then seeing the way he ran against Mizzou, I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, not only is he he was powerful against Maine, but like he actually has some vision.
Yeah. He doesn't run off players' backs. Look at that. Makes a cut. He made somebody miss.
I was angry, Byron. I was like, Marco, what's happening? Like,
I don't. Yeah, hopefully that's it. Yeah.
There's a bunch of reasons, right? I mean, maybe it's pass blocking. Does he know the playbook? Does he there's a ton of reasons maybe why he wasn't seeing the field. I know the casual fans gonna look at it and say, look at the way he's getting upfield. Look at the way we haven't seen this all year. Why hasn't he been playing? There's a lot of reasons. Right. You know that, but yeah, I don't know.
But pass blocking is all about technique and eyes, and counting. Can you count? Can you figure out where a threat might come from? Are your eyes in the right spot when he does come in? Two is just technique. There's a lot of times we're looking at the wrong place, and somebody comes and we're not ready. Then every back that plays football should find some tape of Edgerrin James blocking linebackers. He is by far the best back that I've seen do it. Technique, stick your face in there and hit somebody. Don't one shot them. No, block them. Try and, he wanted to put them on their butt.
Yeah.
But no, this kid gets up the field. He has vision. He can make cuts without gearing his feet down. He's got body lean. He drags people. People hit him, and he's 2 and 3 yards up the field. He gets a couple extra yards. So I like him. I like the way Tatum makes people miss.
He's a local product too.
Yeah. I like both of the young guys. I like both of them. So I get two is he's been there and does everything right and all of that, and he has a role too. But the other guys have more natural talent. They're more natural as runners. And I like to see people that can, make people miss. That's critical for a running back.
Yeah. Well, we're going to keep on trucking on. Hopefully we get back up on YouTube so the chat can continue to come back. I know we got about 400 people or so on Twitter that are watching. So if you're able to comment on Twitter, try to comment in so we can, talk a little more, engage a little more. Hopefully in the next 5 minutes we'll be back up on YouTube, but I'll deal with that tomorrow.
See network, golly, they're not trying to monetize stuff, right? Don't be jerks.
That's why I'm not like it. It's okay, and I'm fine with that. And even our other videos that say, okay, you can't use this for monetization, and we never do. So, and that's fine, and we've been able to do it. But I don't. The fact that our stream is getting cut off over it is kind of crazy to me. But anyways, let's talk a little bit about Joe C. Given and Joe Harris, excuse me, I can't say his name right all the time. Let's talk a little bit about them getting some confidence to Coach Venables. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, they're stuck. I mean, unless they got $44 million in their pocket to pay that buyout, you're kind of stuck. So, and I'm sure that the kids are just looking at the program. Like you said, the kids they're not getting in trouble off the field from anything, that people hear. They're playing hard. They're still engaged. So that's a positive, but I'm sure in no uncertain terms, they've told them that this can't happen again. So, your next coordinator hire has to be the guy.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing going forward. It's just identifying the guy and then you getting everybody on the same page, with the way that college football is kind of turning into pro football. That was a big thing, as a scout that we did. We got to meet with the coaches. We got to sit in meetings with the coaches. They came in draft meetings. This is what we're looking for at different levels, from a starter, backup, developmental guy. And that's where college is going. So you got to have somebody that has a system who can identify talent, knows what he wants, and able to develop that and get them to play in his system. So
yeah.
That's the big thing going forward is who you hire as your coordinator. Can he get guys in here that he can work with? And, I would assume they told him, whoever you come in, he gets to bring his own people. So, we may lose some coaches and that's kind of how the business is, but you got to get this next hire right. And it's, got to get it right, and you got to get the guy, and he's got to be able to identify talent because there were some misses, Yeah, you can't account for guys leaving, but you can't be as wrong as we were on some of the players we have on offense.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, it just comes down to, at the end of the day, I think next year is the year for him.
Absolutely.
Like, he has to nail this offensive coordinator hire.
Yeah.
The defense has to continue to be on the trajectory it's on, which there's no reason to believe it won't. Especially with the way they recruited and the way you've seen young guys like Jaden Jackson, like Eli Bowen, step up. I mean, the linebacker position is probably one of the deepest on the team, along with
D-line.
the defensive line. The one thing you probably want to look at is do you get some young corners opposite of Eli Bowen, because clearly he's proven himself. But do you have other people that are going to step up? Because we have right now, they're definitely the liability of the team. The corners are of the defense specifically. So maybe not doesn't allow you to do a lot of what you want to do. You go zone maybe more often than maybe you want to, because you don't trust your your corners. And we don't, as we saw earlier, and it's been this way for I feel like since Brent Venables has been here. I don't think it's his fault. It's just part of it. Like, our zones have never, like last year, it was the linebackers. They weren't dropping, deep enough. Weren't where they were supposed to be. This year, it seems that the corners, they forget that they're supposed to carry a guy. Like, not only this game, but there's been other games as well where the corners forget that they're supposed to carry a guy, and then they either let a seam, or a whole shot happen that didn't need to happen, or they go into the same area that somebody else is. It's like, that's not how it's
happens way too much. I'm like, why are you both here? Yeah,
Yeah.
that happens a lot.
Yeah.
I thought
that's not how they're taught.
I mean, that comes with playing together, and that can be fixed, and there's enough on defense to say we're really, really close, especially up front. We got dudes up front. I think we need another pass rusher. I like 32, but there's plays to be made in quarters other than the fourth.
Yeah.
I think we need a guy with length. A longer guy, like some of those guys that South Carolina has, those 6'5", 6'4", long arm guys. Rushers like that. So there's improvements to be made on defense too, but just there's a lot of good on defense this year. Front seven, there's a lot of good. A lot of good.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. I mean, like we talked about, I think that at the end of the day, as an athletic director myself, now I don't have nearly the level of
you got chips though, big dog. You got chips, bro.
Yeah. I got the one that I delivered. So I tell all my coaches can't tell me nothing, because
that's right.
I stepped in one year, won a state chip, and then stepped out. So
that's right.
But no, like, I don't have to deal with the media that obviously Josie has to. And, I'm not beholden to that necessarily, but like, I understand the importance of being able to be diplomatic, the importance of not showing your hand, and obviously fans and the parents and whoever else, they have, the privilege, if you will, to be able to voice their opinions, like vocally, like online, and just outright, and be like, you need to do this and you need to do that. Whereas, like, us in administration, that's not how it goes.
Right. And
you know what I mean? That's just not how
you got to deal with the money people too. So that's the ugly side of it. And people ain't gonna keep paying for and whatever we are. So
that's right. That's right.
Whatever we are. So
they show them. I mean, Brent, I'll say this: if Brent hadn't had a 10-win season last year, you may be talking about it this year. But I think the fact that he did have a 10-win season is important, and with the caveat of the injuries we've had this year, and the fact that as from what I've understood and been told, I know that it may seem, and again, you can give Seth a benefit of doubt in terms of you had a whole wide receiver position down or group down. The offensive line is shaky. Your quarterback may not be whatever, but I know that I've heard some things, and I'm sure you have too, just about how things were behind, the scenes with Seth, and that, that's not how things are supposed to work. And so, that's also a piece, and you can pin that on BV and say, look, this is the guy you elevated and that you decided to go with, and so that is on him ultimately,
Absolutely.
but he's not making those decisions on the offensive side of the ball. That was on Seth.
Right.
And so now it's okay. You have this is almost really your last chance to figure this out, and you need to go get a guy that, just like he did with. I mean, that's what he did with Levy. Like, he got a guy that he could trust. And again, I know Levy wasn't everybody's favorite, and you had the hard brow stuff, and I get that. I understand that 100%. But at the end of the day, Levy generally did what he was supposed to do as offensive coordinator, which is why he got hired at the SEC school as a head coach. Like, at the end of the day, when you're good at your job at Oklahoma, especially on the offensive side of the ball, you will more than likely be hired as a head coach at a power forward program.
Right.
That's just
yeah, absolutely. I the question about Joe, from what I know, I've had a couple of conversations with Joe C, and just from people around there, he doesn't really, he hires you to do what you need to do. He trusts you to do what you need to do.
We don't like doing micromanagers. Yeah. That's not how you run people. You don't do that.
Everything I've heard, he's not like that. So, they hire Seth. From what I hear, they hire Seth for continuity's sake for the quarterback. And it goes back to what I say. You got to have your own identity, and you've got to be firm in what you want to do. And if that quarterback can't do what you need him to do, you got to figure it out. You got to get somebody in there that can. And, from everything I've heard about Jackson, he's a great kid, both from people here in Denton and from people I know at OU. Nobody has anything bad to say about him. He works, he cares, he's tough, but something, it's not working. And they tried to build an offense around him that he's comfortable with, and he never looked comfortable in it. So if you're tailoring that offense to him and he's not comfortable, you're going to have to get somebody in here who's got a firm idea of what he wants to be, how it's going to look. And then you've got to empower him to go get the people to execute it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest key. That guy he's got to be firm in what he wants to do.
Yeah. Trap house. No, dog. Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually Levy's playbook, except for the tight end. If I ever see that play again, we better not run a jet sweep to a tight end ever in life, unless it's Keith Jackson reincarnated. But yeah, the scheme was a lot like Levy's, but can't throw the ball. The run stuff was Levy's stuff, but the pass, we can't throw the ball, and it's not all on the offense. Saturday was not all on the offensive line. It wasn't. It
wasn't. There were guys open at times, and Jackson just was gun shy.
Correct. We can't pin and pull that, but we don't need to do that. You got backs that can read blocks, run zone, outside zone. Run power. Let the backs decide where to go. You don't have to run that stuff. But that's the biggest thing. You just gotta. You're gonna tear it down. You do have to tear the offense down. And you've got to decide on the quarterback, which one,
Yeah.
Are you is Hawkins, has he shown you enough to where you go with him? Or do is Jackson rehabable? I don't know. Mm-hmm. I can tell you what Bill Polian, one of the things he said, when a quarterback starts looking down at the rush, it's a problem because it's in his mind now. So he may not be able to overcome that. That was his thought. He's like, I don't know, but that is a big. He's like, if you notice a quarterback in college looking at the rush, he said it is a problem.
Yeah.
And we all saw it Saturday. Like there was times he's seeing ghosts. I'm like, bro, no, step up and look, keep your head up. And there's guys coming open, but and it's not all his fault because he's shell shocked because the protection hasn't been there all year. So yeah, he's probably got a clock in his head. I got to get this out. So hey, buddy. You want to say hi? Yes, you can have my phone.
I know.
Yeah, but it's a like you say, it's a bunch of little stuff that adds up to these systemic failures. So it's not all on Jackson. He's young too. People, don't realize that this is his first year starting in college. He started one game, the bowl game, and one other game last year, and now he's the guy with a bad, with a leaky offensive line and no receivers.
Yeah.
It's not all on him either. So I don't want to cast it that way, but we just gotta, there's a lot of stuff we got to figure out.
Yeah. Yep. It's going to be interesting as we continue to kind of dive into who the next offensive coordinator is going to be, and that's really where I think most Sooners fans are looking. Like I don't think anybody thinks we're going to be Alabama at LSU to end the year. Not Alabama at home, certainly. And
you're gonna chalk that down. That's gonna be an ugly L that everybody's gonna see on prime time. I just pray that we, the defense shows up and we generate something.
Please.
And just don't get embarrassed. But LSU, they're not.
They're not great, but it's at Death Valley. Yeah. And if Jackson is getting rattled at Ross Stadium.
That's a whole other animal at night.
That man is good.
That's one of the loudest. Tennessee was the loudest that I've been in. Tennessee was quiet until they set up that tee and they come running out and they play Rocky Top right before the game. Then it was like my head was hurting the whole game. Yeah. Crazy. Like A&M is real loud. Yeah. And but I think LSU might be the loudest.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
For a reason.
It's loud. Like it shakes your whole body. Like your body is still in your head, and your ears are ringing like an hour after the game is over. Mm-hmm. It's that loud.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we just gotta pray that's not a night game because LSU at night is different as well.
Yeah, that's a different place.
Hey, I mean, like you said, Byron, the coach, and that's what I think maybe people are missing about BV. And I think here's what I'll say. I disagree with Texas fans at this point. Could they prove me right eventually or prove me wrong eventually? Maybe. But Texas fans, they think that BV is probably strong. That's what they think. That's what they think. And so they think that he is a, great culture guy, but he's not a head coach. And I just don't know that I truly believe that about Brent. Because they said that Texas players like to play for Charlie, that they played hard and that they did all these things, but then they couldn't get.
Texas people thought the same thing about Sark 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Yeah. We don't care what they do.
I'm not saying I believe it. I'm not saying that.
Right. I know. Yeah. But
yeah. The guys believe.
Yeah. I mean, Sark, 2 years ago, they were in the same spot we were. So,
yeah, that is beyond disrespectful if they're calling Brent Venables not a ball coach. Mm-hmm. Come on now.
Look at our defense. Like,
talking about BV. You're talking about Brent Venables.
Look at our defense. Our defense was, like I said, our defense is really good. The reason we don't, the Texas game, if we can score anything there, that quarterback was shook for a quarter and a half.
Yep.
And he's supposed to be a high pick.
You put some pressure on him. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, he's going to throw you 2 or 3. Look at the Georgia game. He threw about 5 of them. They just didn't catch all of them.
Yep.
So,
Period.
I'm not worried about BV. Like BV, the person is top notch. He's shown he can recruit, which is what some people had reservations about when he got here. Was can he recruit to that level? He's shown he can do that. You just got to get the offense right.
Yeah. Which I think can happen. We're talking about a singular year where the offense has been, and it's been historically bad, and that's why we're talking about it.
But you've had historic stuff happen, injury wise too.
Yes.
You've never,
I don't know a team that's had
never seen anything like that at receiver. So
yeah.
You have to take all of that into account. But Brent, I'm sure they told him behind the door, "Hey, we can't have this. It's unacceptable. I get it. Yeah, we got injuries. We can't be this bad." Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard us earlier, Trap House, but that's what I alluded to. The whole team is still behind BV. If you just watch how they play, look how they celebrate, how into it, and how you can see all of that. So they still believe in Brent, and everybody seems to be on board and all of that. So that, and like I've said that numerous times on here, that speaks to a ton to BV. To keep this squad together as it has. People aren't tweeting a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You don't see any of that. So,
and that's part of his MO though, and that's what like even people. And again, personally for me, don't believe anybody that's out here saying there's going to be a mass exodus, there's going to be this, there's going to be that, and I'm like, yeah, that's right, Norm. But I'm like, you talking about a mass exodus when we have a guy that the reason he recruits the way he does is so that he gets guys that are committed to the University of Oklahoma and that aren't these superficial dudes. And he intentionally, now you're going to have dudes that do, their own thing here and there. Like you're going to have 5% that are going to do their thing regardless. But the majority of those guys that are at Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma right now are there for the University of Oklahoma. They're bought into Brent Venables and they're bought into the Soul Mission, everything he is. And he feels like he has the right guys. It's why Billy and Danny came back. I mean, NIL as well, but like still.
Well, one of them had to come back.
That's true. You're right. But I mean, it's why you see these senior leaders who again sucks for them, but they're here. Like Danny said, I wanted to be back for BV. Like Danny loves Brent Venables.
Yep.
He does.
Yeah.
So that's a piece of it. When you have a coach like that, I think it's important to pay attention to, because I think that's in my opinion, I know everybody wants to, I'd sell my soul for a national championship and all this and that. But it's like, man, like if you want to, I guess if that's how you want to live and you want a coach that's disastrous organizationally and as a person just to win one national championship, then okay. But like other than that, I think the way to go about it is having a coach that's transformational in people's lives and can coach his butt off on the field, which again, I think BV's proven to do. It's just, can he make the right decision and who can do that on the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah. And just to speak to Trap House about the medical staff, the thing with that is it's not pulls. The one guy had a soft tissue was Burks. The rest of them are broken legs. One dude tore quad, ACLs. Like that's not medical staff stuff. Soft tissue injuries, if you have a ton of those, then perhaps, but it's not that. These are broken bones and stuff. You can't account for that. So, and I know Smitty very well. That's one of my. I have a lot of confidence in that dude. He's gotten too many pros ready. Hey, we never get hurt. We rarely wear down and have those kind of injuries. So I think he does a really good job. But it's just one of those freak years. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to that, we spoke about that earlier. There's not a lot of off-field stuff with any of these guys. So the culture is there. We just got to get the results and get the offense fixed. And fix the culture on that side of the ball. Develop leaders, I think that's huge. Having an on-field leader is huge, huge, huge. You know, you got Billy, you got Stutz, you know, you got Kip, you got all of those guys on defense, and you don't have it on offense. And you know that's going to be huge going forward too. Just developing leadership and confidence in those guys to be leaders.
Yep.
And you know, ideally, you'd like for it to be your quarterback, but your quarterback is struggling.
Yeah.
So you know, it's hard for him to lead when he's swimming. You know, it's tough. And like I said, I'm not bashing J.A. I'm not bashing Mike. None of those guys. They're, from everything I've heard, they're all really good kids. So I'm rooting for them. I hope they can turn it around and get us where we need to go. And if they do leave, I wish them well, just like I did Dylan. You know, okay, you leave. Good luck, and we appreciate what you did.
Yeah, for sure. Trap said, "I got to bring you on more often." He appreciates you. Dig your tape.
Yeah, he forgets about me, man. He don't. You know, I'm an old guy, so he don't want to bring me on that
often. No. You know, I know you busy. You know, I know you're busy, but you know, I appreciate you when you're able to. You know,
anytime, dude. Just you know, give me a little warning, and I'll do what I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremiah Hall. Yeah, you need a guy like that. Just a leader. And if nothing else, just to calm everybody down. You know, it's a lot of these guys. They are aware of the noise around the offense, and you know they hear the boos in the stadium. Just hey, guys, breathe. We're good. We got it. Yeah, we struggle, but we're gonna. You know, just leadership. You know, and it can't always be the coach. It's got to be players too.
Yeah. Gotta be.
Yeah, I mean, just being in India, you're spoiled rotten. You know, we had Jeff Saturday, Peyton, Reggie Wayne. You know, Marvin didn't say much, but Marvin worked his butt off. But Tarek Glenn, you know, all of those guys. Yeah, all of that. Then on the other side, you got Freeney, Mathis, Bob Sanders. You had all of those guys that were just, you know, we had a ton of leaders.
Gary. I mean,
Brackett, and all of those guys were leaders, and you got to have that. Got to have it on both sides. So we're definitely. I think leadership is huge.
I was
this young team going forward on offense. Huge.
I was so spoiled as a kid. Didn't see that.
Yes, you were. Yes,
didn't see that, man. That was.
We had a run. Like you came in on the beginning of it too. You know, my first year.
I know.
97 was a year before we got Peyton. Then the year I moved up there was 98. You were what, 2, 3?
Yeah.
When I moved up there in 98.
98, I was 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to see the good stuff.
I got to see the golden years. Yeah. I mean, when Dad and I first started going for the season, I was 6. That was 2002. So I mean, that was.
Wow, dude, I'm old. Wow.
Yeah. 2002, and then all the way to we got to see that last before we moved. We saw that last terrible year after Peyton was gone. That was So, but yeah, well, guys, we got about out of time. You know, we got a bye week coming up, and then you know it'll be Bama week next week, and we'll talk about that when we get there. We gonna at least enjoy the bye week and not having to worry about getting embarrassed this week, and hopefully get a little bit more healthy. Hopefully have some good, recruiting news. People just calm down and let's who knows? Maybe we can shock the world. I doubt it, but you never know.
Yeah,
what could happen.
Hopefully. And look, going forward, like the run game, I thought the answer Trap House's question. You know, I think Xavier he'll be in the rotation. I don't think they'll overtake Barnes. They seem to be comfortable with him, so he'll be the guy. And then, Tatum, I guess he's hindered too. He got dinged up again too. So, but I like both of those guys. Get them in there, change pace, they're different. I think Tatum is more the home run guy. I really like his vision, and and ability to make people miss. I think Xavier has a lot. He has some wiggle, but he has power behind him too. So let's get him going. Get the young guys some work. We know what Barnes is, and he's serviceable, but he's not. He's a singles and doubles guy. These guys have more home run ability in them. So
yeah.
But yeah, get everybody healthy. Let's dial up some stuff on offense. See if we can score 2 touchdowns next week.
Yeah, something.
I'll take that. Not off special. Not off trick plays. Let's have 2 drives to score, and and then see what happens against LSU. Bama's just a different animal, but
yeah,
let's see what happens. Let's get some positive stuff to build on against Alabama, and then go down there to LSU and see what happens.
Yeah. Yep, and then we'll be, full-fledged in the all-season offensive coordinator mode.
Absolutely.
We'll see what it comes down to at that point. But
yeah.
All right, y'all. It's been real. Appreciate y'all that stuck around with us. Apologize about what happened on YouTube. Looks like we got back on about 15, 20 minutes ago. But
SEC Network, man, come on.
Lame. But
thanks
for everybody on Twitter. We had about 550, 600 viewers on Twitter. So appreciate y'all that came out and joined us. And, make sure y'all have a good week. Stay safe. We'll see y'all back here next week. Thank you, Byron, again for coming on. Appreciate you.
Anytime, fam. Anytime. And Boomer Sooner. Let's go.
Boomer. All right.